Man, Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. What a performance. Morocco are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, eliminating Spain, eliminating the mighty 2010 World Cup winner Spain. I mean, welcome everyone to MRM Sports. I'm your host, Ronald M. And there was one, the mighty one, that went all the way to the quarterfinals from Africa. That is the Atlas Lions, Morocco. Morocco defeats Spain to make their way to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. I mean, that's so brilliant. I mean, Morocco deserved it, man. What a performance by Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. What a performance by Morocco, man. I can't speak highly of them enough, man. I mean, the star players stood up to the game. Amarat in the midfield, Hakimi, Ziyech. I mean, Ziyech, as a Chelsea fan, this is the best Ziyech I've seen in my life. I wish Ziyech could take the same form, the same energy, the same passion, the same trickery, take it back to London and help Chelsea rise up from the ashes, man. What a performance by Ziyech. What a performance by Saiss. You wonder why Wolves decided to get rid of him, because at the back, Saiss is marshalling the team. As the captain of Morocco, he's marshalling the team from the back, man. What a performance by Morocco all around. I mean, the keeper, I think he plays in La Liga and was voted, I think, was he the best keeper of La Liga or something along those lines. I mean, what a complete team. This is the most exciting African team, obviously, because they're through to the quarterfinals. But then nonetheless, man, they topped the group with Belgium, Croatia, Canada. They defeated the 2010 World Cup winners in Spain, who they were a bit of favorites for this World Cup, let's be honest. I mean, they have exciting young stars, experienced players. But then Morocco managed to defend. I mean, the fact that Morocco have only conceded an own goal in this World Cup means they have the best defense in this World Cup so far. I mean, that's, you know what, any good teams in any competition is always built on defense. I mean, the lesser you concede, chances are you can go all the way. I mean, let's just give it to Morocco. Maybe they might. But then, man, what a performance by Morocco in the round of 16. And I think we have to touch about, before we wax more lyrical, no, let's continue with Morocco. I think, looking at the game against Spain, I think it was set up nicely. They defended properly. I mean, they did have some chances. That's the only concerning part for them going to the quarterfinals. I mean, the few chances they created, the striker took so long to actually pick a spot to place the ball. There's a chance where I think it was offside, but then nonetheless, it was almost like 1v1 against the keeper. And Laporte managed to come and sneak and nick the ball out of him. Nick the ball off him when he was about to shoot. He kept on trying to decide where to place the ball, which against Portugal in the quarterfinals, the striker has to take those one chances, those moment of brilliance need to be there from the striker, need to be there from attackers. Because in as much as you might be confident that Morocco can go all the way to the penalties against Portugal, at least rather first get a goal, try to defend, because Portugal are so good going forward. At least maybe if Portugal pulls them back and then you defend, can go all the way to a penalty or whatnot, to a penalty shootout or whatnot. But then I think that was my only concern with Morocco, where the striker really, and there was another chance where he could have easily laid it off for Hakimi. He was standing just outside the 18, for Ziyech, standing outside the 18-yard area, where he could have just laid the ball for him to use that wonderful left foot and just pick a corner. But then he decided to go for it himself. So I think those finer details against top teams like Portugal need to be perfected to the team, man. That's where I feel like Morocco might have lagged yesterday. But then I can't shoot them in the foot, man. That was a brilliant performance. And, I mean, for Spain, for Luis Enrique to come out and say he told his players to practice penalties like 1,000 times, and they didn't even manage to pull off some really good penalties. I mean, those shocking penalties, and you know they're going to lose when Busquets decides to take a penalty. I mean, I've followed Busquets' career all my footballing life as a fan, obviously, but then, I mean, I don't remember games where Busquets stepped up to take a penalty. I stand to be corrected, but then, I mean, you have strikers who, I mean, for Morocco, that was a good thing. For that, definitely a good thing. But then for Spain, man, yeah, they're shook. They're out. Like I said in the other video, this is knockout football, man. Anything can happen. We just have to keep the hope and faith. And speaking of knockout football, man, I think we have to also talk about Senegal versus England. You know what? From an African perspective, that was a disappointing match. I mean, the first 38 minutes before the first England goal, I think Senegal showed that they can play football. But then there was a chance for England where what you call this, Cote d'Ivoire decided to step up and his defender, like there was no communication, and Hurricane was through the line just like that because Cote d'Ivoire decided to step up. I mean, Cote d'Ivoire had a shocker of a game, one of those games that makes you really wonder how he played for Napoli or how Chelsea bought him or why Chelsea bought him or why he played for Napoli, you know. And of course, man, you know, I think there's a lot African footballers to improve on. Looking at what Senegal did against England, because in all honesty, I thought they would make a game out of it. I thought maybe if they're going to lose, it might be a 1-0 or 2-1. England, they have to sweat for the victory. But at the end of the day, I mean, the second goal, how do you get counter-attacked just before the halftime? I mean, any football fan knows the first 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of each half are key. Never concede in those times. Never concede in the first 5 minutes of the game. Never concede in the last 5 minutes of the game. Always try to keep it compact, man, that time. If they're going into the halftime 1-0, and then you say maybe the coach might change a few tactics and here and there. But then never. I mean, that was such a disappointment. I think African footballers to improve in that sense, the technical, not the technical, sorry, the tactical awareness of the game, the positional play. I mean, and of course, being brave. It's something that I think CAF as a whole has to look at, man. Something that CAF I think has to look at. Try maybe, I don't know, hold coaching seminars. I mean, get the best coaches in the world. Get these coaches internship at big clubs like Real Madrid or stuff or whatever, man. So that our tactical awareness improves. Try to get youngsters to be exposed to European football, European coaches, European coaching standard, so that the tactical side of the game we improve as a continent. Because the technical side, we are getting there. Physicality, we've always had physicality in African football. I mean, it's time to prove the tactical side. I believe if we do that in the next World Cup, in the USA World Cup, US, Mexico, Canada World Cup, we might be able to actually like do more or go more into the competitions. Have a collective of African teams doing more in the competition, man. Because I think even with Cameroon, the first game against Switzerland, where the coaches made some basic errors. How do you not play Abubakar? I mean, he proved in the AFCON that he can score goals. He proved in the World Cup he can score goals. So you should have played him. I mean, the way Tunisia played against Australia, the way Ghana played, particularly against Uruguay, the tactical side of the game. I mean, Ghana should have just set in tip. So it's something that, looking at African football, something that we can definitely like improve on. And then something else I wanted to talk about. I mean, of course, everyone saw Roy Keane's comments about Brazil, the Samba Boys dancing, and even the coach joining. Thought he was watching Strictly Come Dancing or something. I think, you know, why I love the World Cup, why I love this tournament where we have teams from all over the world, or countries from all over the world. They're bringing different flavor. I mean, look at African teams, look at the support. I mean, African supporters will sing from the first minute to the last minute. Even if that team is losing, they don't lose the vibe, they don't lose the movement. I mean, it's coordinated, it's fun. They bring life to the stadium. I mean, if you're watching African football, if it's east, west, north, I mean, southern side, we love the vuvuzela. We love the noise within the crowd. I mean, you watch European football, you watch EPL, Premier League. Players always, I mean, they do sing, but then it's more of, I mean, when there's a title or good position, they clap hands and stuff. We sing, we play our drums, we play our trumpets. I mean, we keep the vibe going. We see it with the Brazilian fans, with the Argentinian fans. It's who we are as South American people and African people. We can't knock people. There's no way anyone should determine how supporters are supposed to support the team. I mean, music is a big part of African football. It's a big part of the continent, basically. I mean, that's why if you watch AFCON, There's never, even if there are few supporters in the stands, there's never a game where there's no singing. I mean, there's no drums, there's no trumpets, there's no vuvuzelas. It's supporters just enjoying the game, giving that energy to the players. I mean, you saw the Moroccan supporters, the way they were singing, I mean, cheering on the team. It's the tough man, it's the version of what English people call the tough man, which is the supporters. It's how supporters relate to the team. It's how the team feeds off the energy of supporters. So I don't think that can be noted. And when Brazil dances, I mean, I remember, let's talk World Cup, the World Cup in 2010. I mean, the first goal by Chabalala, you saw the players dancing. It's who we are as Africans, as South Americans. I mean, dancing is a huge part of our culture. I mean, we are good at dancing, let's be honest. We have the right rhythm to the beat and stuff. So we can't be knocked down for that then. But then I didn't get Roy Keane's points. I think we can't knock Africans or South Americans for dancing and singing and playing all the instruments they want, as long as they're not insulting anyone. I mean, you saw Koreans, they didn't even have a problem with them dancing, because it's who we are as people. We're so different. I mean, if English supporters decide to go around applauding their players, and let them do that. It's who they are. It's what they're comfortable with. It's how they feel like they should support their team, man. So I don't see why Roy Keane decided to have a jibe at Brazil for dancing, because they do what they do. If they're dancing as when they lose, then yeah, it will be weird. But then when they're scoring, they're entertaining the world. I mean, they call the Samba boys for something. You know what Samba is. You know how dancing. I mean, you think of the Carnival in Brazil, one of the hugest festivals in the world. For them, it's dancing. Dancing is key. Dancing is life. I mean, it's the same as saying you take away beer from Germany. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's who the people are. And then looking forward to the semi-finals, man. To the quarterfinals, sorry. I'm jumping the gun, eh? Looking forward to the quarterfinals. For me, oh yeah, and a special shout out to Giroud, man. Olivier Giroud is the leading goal scorer for France. I think that's huge. I mean, for someone who, when I was at Chelsea, wasn't known for scoring goals, wasn't the remarkable Giroud who score you 20, 30 goals a season. But then it did help Chelsea win key trophies in the Champions League, in the Europa League. And Arsenal won the FA Cup, I believe. I mean, AC Milan has won the Scudetto. And I think it was Montpellier, he won the Liga. I think, I'm not sure there. But then for him to be leading goal scorer, and you know, Giroud is a scorer of great goals. He's not a great goal scorer, but then he is a scorer of great goals, and that's kudos to him, man. And looking at the semi-finals, the quarterfinals, I don't know why I'm going to semi-finals. The quarterfinals, for me, I mean, Friday we have Netherlands versus Argentina, 5 p.m. CAT time, Croatia versus Brazil. I mean, these are crazy games. And then Saturday, Morocco versus Portugal, 5 p.m. And of course, England versus France. Again, another set of crazy games on Saturday. Netherlands versus Argentina. I would love Argentina to win this game, just so that we can have a Brazil-Argentina semi-final, which would be, I think, would be dope. I think football needs it. Great rivalry in the semi-final, and Messi's chance to prove that he indeed wants this World Cup final. And then, of course, you have Morocco, Portugal, Croatia, Brazil. I think Croatia are a very dangerous side. I mean, they went through on penalties against Japan. And I think this game favors Croatia more, where they have to be compact at the back. The midfield is always hard-working, compact. And then, going forward, they can be deadly and nick a goal. So it'll be interesting to see how Brazil copes with another different kind of pressure, because technically and tactically, Croatia have always been brilliant. I mean, we saw in the last World Cup, we've seen in this World Cup already, they can surprise any team, they can get a goal when they need to. And hopefully, man, it will be another kick of a game. I think Brazil will just edge it, same as Netherlands versus Argentina. I think Netherlands going forward, yeah, they're good, but then they're not the European side or Van Persie side. So I think that's even the midfield. Yes, they've De Jong there, but then I think they do lack a bit. So I think this game will be key against Argentina. I mean, who blinks first? With defense better. I think this Argentinian side has a good defense, has a good midfield, and has a good attack as well. So it's who defends first, who gets the goal first, and we'll see how it goes. And then, of course, Morocco, Portugal. I mean, Portugal had to just spoil the party by winning 6-1 against Switzerland, because I thought maybe they might start that game. So against Morocco, I think Morocco's defense again has to be key. They have to make sure they defend with everything they have. Then we see how it goes, man. We see how it goes. Then, of course, England versus France. This will be a crack of a game. I mean, the British are looking impressive. I mean, but then there's those moments against Senegal, where especially the first 36, 38 minutes, where I think it was Bar from Senegal, where he twisted and turned Harry Maguire, and he was supposed to shoot the ball that instant, but he decided to try and wiggle his way through again with Maguire ended up intercepting the ball. I mean, if France take the first chance, then it's on England to actually attack. It might be something else. And France has good defenders. I think the only difference between those two teams, I mean, going forward, I think they're evenly matched. It'll be key to see if Benzema might be fit for this game. I think going forward, they're evenly matched. Midfield-wise, I think Bellingham is key for England. It'll be interesting to see how Tuchemeni and what's his name, the other kid from Madrid play, and how Robier handle Bellingham. Then defense-wise, I think France has a better defense. I mean, think of Varane, what you call these guys. I mean, they have a better defense. Their names are skipping my mind. And then I would love to see France go through. I definitely would love to see France go through against England. Not because I don't like England. I mean, I love Premier League. But then I think from an African perspective, France, I was just thinking about this the other day. France have done more for African football than any other former colonizer. I mean, you think of Tunisia, how many players, I think there's a crazy stat that about 7 of the starting 11 were born in France or something. Think of how most African players, their journey, like the club football begins in France, or their breakthrough comes from France. And you think of course, the black players who've able to represent France. I think France overall, man, they've done more for the African football than any other former colonizer. You think of even your Senegal, your Cameroon players. I mean, I think who's this player who plays for Brentford was born in France. I think they've definitely, maybe it's because the language, the players from East and West African parts of the world, parts of Africa, I mean, maybe it's easier for them to access France and maybe try and establish a career than it is for countries who are colonized by England, for example, for youngsters to move there and as migrants and stuff. So I think in that sense, that's why I would want France to go through. Just for African pride. I mean, they've done so much in terms of football. Maybe not knowingly or subconsciously, or maybe I don't think it's something they put their mind that we should develop African football. But then definitely them having easier, accessible channels for African footballers to go through as juniors or whatnot, or even as migrants to then carve a career. I mean, think Mendy, his career began in France when he thought he couldn't have a career in football anymore. So I think from that perspective, they definitely have done more for African football, man. And I can't wait for the quarterfinals. And then, of course, we'll head to the quarterfinals. I hope, I mean, the game I watch, definitely. I think I'll watch all the games, of course, because I love football. But then the Morocco-Portugal game, I think, is key. Imagine if Morocco become the first African team to go to the semifinals. Then they have to face either England or France. I mean, with their defense, who knows, man? Let's keep on dreaming. Who knows? This is World Cup for Showcase. Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Ronald M, signing out. Cheers.